Is this the Rookie CEO podcast?
Yeah, I think we're in the right place.
Oh, Hev, it's recording. This is Fuzz.
And I'm Hev, and you're listening to the Rookie CEO podcast.
Today we are joined by the amazing, the one, the only, the reason why we're here today in this Your Video Team podcast studio, Ben from Your Video Team. Hello.
They say it's the one and only, but we look identical.
Someone don't know who that was that just came in, but she thought like she was seeing double.
It's like we're made from a mould.
It's like that, you just need one more and you could do that Spider-Man meme, do you know, when they're all three pointing each other?
In this episode, we're going to be talking about how podcasts can benefit your marketing. And obviously, you are the expert. You have podcast studios, you love podcasts.
Yep.
I think you spend all day editing them.
I do, yeah.
Do you listen to a different podcast as you edit? Are you like really absorbed?
I can do. So Rachel finds it confusing when I am sitting there and I'm listening to a podcast and I'm editing one, and she's like, "Well, how can you do that?" I was like, "Well, I've listened to this conversation already, so I know what they're saying."
That's crazy.
But yeah, that's quite an enjoyable bit. Is actually sitting there watching people record their podcasts, because I know all about accountancy, family law, how to live a better lifestyle.
Of course.
Just because some of the people that I work with.
What's the word? Encyclopedia? What's the word?
Encyclopedia.
What is wrong with me? I've been podcasting.
I thought you were trying to say human centipede. I was like, I'm not that.
Yeah.
No, but it is, you do pick these sort of things up. Like, I know way more about mortgages than I should know.
Yeah,
because of working with a mortgage broker, and you have to like deep dive, and I guess that they're deep diving as they're talking. You, even if you're not fully listening, you're just soaking it all out without thinking.
Yeah.
So at what point in your life, and I don't mean business, at what point in your life did you start listening and enjoying podcasts?
Cool, that's a good question. I've listened to podcasts since they pretty much came out, and the first one I used to listen to was Chris Moyles.
Oh yeah.
Because I've in fact grown up listening to radio, which is what podcasts kind of are back in the day. They're just radio shows where you can't play music. But yeah, listening to Radio 1 growing up, pretending to be a DJ with my brother, recording all the top 40 and being like, next we have S Club 7 and Reach for the Stars, and be that kind of person. But yeah, when podcasts came out, Chris Moyles from Radio 1 show, I'd listen to him all week, and then he'll release a highlight of it on a Friday, so I'll listen to that. And then it turned into just moving on to different podcasts. As I started a business, found business podcasts that helped you learn how to run a business and do business and succeed with it and stuff like that, which would have been around about 2015, where we really dived into growing our business, but also finding ones that just entertain you as well. So things like Chris and Rosie Ramsey's, I don't know, what's the language like on here?
It's fine.
I shagged, married, annoyed, and listening
fine.
to that. I just want to know what
I say bollocks quite a lot.
But yeah, the business bollocks, I like it.
Nice. So then at what point was the milestone, the trigger point for you where you were like, I could probably turn this into a business?
We had a video agency that was doing weddings and stuff before COVID, and then we turned it into corporate work during COVID because making health and safety videos. We're like, we'll just work with more companies. They pay more and they pay on time, and it's nice and quick. It's not like I'm waiting 3 years before I'm actually shooting the thing. But then it was all like going in and doing social media stuff, which I didn't really enjoy doing. I didn't enjoy doing all like the social things that you kind of do, which especially when it came to when TikTok started coming through. So I enjoyed interviewing people, having conversations, having long form content, and I wanted to capture more of that, which I started off doing things like training videos and welcome videos for businesses. And then when I was working with Coca-Cola, they started doing that was an amazing little when I was working with Coca-Cola. They need to do internal comms and things like that, especially because this was coming through the COVID stage. They couldn't necessarily do big group team meetings, so once a month we'd go there once they had their national and international meets and discuss what's happening in the factories. That's when I get involved, and they record like 5 or 6 people in a room talking to the camera about what it was, and that's kind of how I started going into it, and then developing into case studies for businesses and things like that. And then all of a sudden somebody was like, I'm thinking of doing a podcast, but I want it on YouTube. And I was like, yeah, I could do that. I could have that. It's right down my alley. I learn from people. I've been listening to them for years. I enjoy doing it. I started watching a few online. So Diary of a CEO was coming out and was growing, and obviously still is growing. And a few more podcasts like that I started seeing, listening to more business ones, and felt actually it suits my learning to watch it as well. And I'm sure there's a lot of people like me who see people, and even just seeing a conversation, you can pick up body language and how people act and react to things, and be like, oh, that does make sense. I understand. For some reason, I can understand more when I see somebody saying the same thing, but being able to see them say it just made it easier for me to take it in and learn and things like that. So I was just like, I'm going to move into this. And then, we're here where we are today with podcast studios and things like that.
So do you solely focus on podcasts here, or is it also long-form video content?
So we do podcasts, yes, 100%. We also do live streams. So we're actually having esports come in here and do like Moto esports coming in from the 1st of February, or coming in this year.
That's amazing.
So we'll be doing live streams with that, with presenters in here, and then doing the VTs and stuff going out with it, watching the race, which will be streaming from somewhere up north. I can't remember the name of the place.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, and then we also do VIP content days, where people do a lot of short form content, but it's all, again, very much people based.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the trends have changed a bit more on social media, where it's not so much about doing the craziest thing, it's about doing the most, educate in the quickest way, which is probably what I would say our VIP content day is. Nice.
So instead of like taking clips on podcasts, it's scripted short form content.
Well, we've set up podcasts. I know how loud that is.
Your studio.
So we set up studios for that look like podcasts. So we'll do 2 or 3 podcast setups, and we record some bits like they appear to be guests to help build authority, and then we will do direct to camera scripted content where they go, and then we'll really work on those hooks to make sure that they're staying longer than just that's a really boring sentence, I'm going to move on.
So that's perfect for like sole traders who just don't have their space yet for an office.
And it gives them, like the VIP content days gives you over 3 months worth of content just by filming in one day. I'm sure you've done stuff like that as well, just to maximise a day and be like
100%.
So what would you suggest? Like, so you've got a sole trader or a small limited company, and they want to start a podcast, but they're not at a point yet where they can afford to outsource it or come here. What would you maybe say the best tips if you're going to try and do it yourself to start with, until you get the ground running to come and get it done properly?
What would I suggest if you're starting properly? So there are free tools out there that you can use to help do video. If you are going to do video, don't necessarily worry about doing a full episode. Use that video for clips and get the message out there in short forms. Yes, you can release a full podcast episode, but if it's just one camera recording it, it can be a bit boring and hard to watch, which is why we try and set up multiple cameras to help cut and go between, just to keep the interest, and it kind of triggers the mind. Do invest in the audio first. Podcasts are always an audio first production, no matter how much lighting, cameras and stuff. If the audio's rubbish, the podcast is rubbish. And be different. Everyone who starts a podcast always starts on Zoom. They think, we'll do interviews. You don't have to do that. You don't have to have interviews. Talk about your business, what you do, how you support people. You can have longer conversations because it's relationship building. But I'm criticising people for having guests on there. But a lot of people go, I'm going to have this guest on them because they're going to be good for me.
Yeah.
But is the guest good for your audience?
100%.
Also, do you really need a guest, or does your audience need to hear what you offer? One firm that I worked with on a podcast was a family law firm, and they had guests on who were great, interesting stories, but their clients weren't who these people were talking to. You're talking to judges, you're talking to people who've gone through. So all she's doing is opening her guest to her audience, but they're not asking the expert on family law questions about family law, which is what her target audience were.
Yeah.
So,
because at the end of the day, I think what people forget is like if you want to turn this into a business, you should be generating leads, not just talking and filming it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people forget about that with social media as well, don't they? They just go, I'm going to go on TikTok. Oh, I've got 100,000 views on this video. Great. What's it going to do for you? I've got a bit of dopamine from it. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I do completely agree with you. And having the short form content on social media, you probably, I don't know what, I'm sure if you're the expert with the stats side of it, but I would say you probably get about 20 times more views on social media than you actually do on like the likes of YouTube and Spotify. Pardon me. What do you think?
Yeah, exactly that. The clips are there to grab attention, and even to the point where we specifically stop the record or finish the record and go back and record specific short clips. I go, because I'm listening to a conversation when I'm producing a podcast. I go, that's great, but you spoke for 5 minutes about it.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily going to keep the attention. So can you make that a 30 to 60 second conversation between you talking about that topic?
Yeah, because not everyone listens to podcasts. We've got to just realise that, and not all of our audience, especially our ideal clients, are going to be listening to podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, yeah, definitely. Like, I think, would you ever advise someone to just do podcasts and not turn it into short form content? Or would you say they literally, it's like 50%?
It's an ecosystem.
Goes hand in hand.
It's an ecosystem. It should be fueling each thing.
Yeah.
So you start off with a podcast, it fuels your short form content. That short form content then starts getting questions from an audience, which then fuels the next lot of podcasts. And then it goes back into your shorts and then back round. And then it's going off to your email list. Or then it's going off to your website. And then it's going off to the next platform.
Hey Hev, have you heard of IT Managed Services? They're an IT support service based in Kent.
Yeah, I've been with them for over a year now. I love being able to just call them at any point and they take over my computer and fix the issue. So much quicker than spending hours on Google.
Why have you kept that to yourself all this time? Right, I need to sign up to these guys. What's their website?
It's it-ms.co.uk or you can call 01634 218 362.
There's many times where people are like, oh, my podcast isn't doing anything, or my short form clips aren't doing anything, but I'm getting a load of stuff through Google. So, well, guess where that Google's coming from? They've seen you on social media, they've seen your podcast, now they're just doing research.
Yeah, it's all the touch points. This is what I say to clients. You get as many all the touch points you can have in your business, whether that is a podcast, website, social media, a blog, a mailing list. It's all the things that are making them subliminally think, oh, okay, taking you in, and then when they're ready for you, that's when they go for it.
Yeah.
And talking about podcasts, obviously, what is the optimal, do you think, way to sort of process it? Weekly, monthly, fortnightly, or does it depend on the industry? Does it depend on how long the podcast
As in how regular it goes out?
Yeah.
Weekly should be the minimum.
Wow. Okay.
Which is a lot of work.
Yeah.
So you need to...
We know.
Monthly you could do, but you're going to have really slow growth with that, like really slow, and you're stretching your content. If you're doing a hour episode to be your month's worth of content, that's hard to stretch it. Although it could be 60 individual 1 minute clips, it definitely isn't. It might be 10, it might be 15, 20, but are they good clips? If you have it weekly, you can fuel your content every day.
Yeah.
So when we have a weekly episode, we do 9 pieces of content, which we can make for them just out of clips. And then you turn those clips into a blog, or you turn the video into a blog. You turn them into carousels. You turn them into image posts. Every story should be multiple platforms and formats that you're sharing. Weekly is best because it's also going to be that EastEnders is on as regularly as it is because people are used to that and it's part of your routine. It needs to become that routine. So I get asked, what day should I release it on? What's the best day? It actually doesn't matter what day you release it on, as long as you commit to that day and do it all the time. So your episodes go out on a Monday at 7 a.m. I'm
6 a.m.
6 a.m. Oh, ready for your gym, ready for the gym visit. But so 6 a.m. every Monday, you have that episode going out, and your audience are going to know that. They know they're going to have their fresh listen for the commute on the way to work that Monday morning.
Because I'm the same with my podcast that I listen to Parenting Hell is every Tuesday and every Friday.
Yeah.
And like
I noticed when podcasts have been late released as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is it. Yeah, so those over the Christmas period, they've like released one by like only 2 hours. But I was just like, it normally is out now, and I want to listen to it on the way to work.
Yeah.
What am I going to do with my life?
It's that same dopamine hit that you got if you got 100,000 views on a video.
Yeah.
You get the same dopamine every time you get that
Exactly.
message going, oh, it's here now.
Yeah.
What would you say? So something I'm recently trying to like explain to clients is actually probably the most valuable time of your marketing is when you're putting that content out and getting no views, because that's content bank building. So what would you kind of say to people motivated if they feel like they're putting this content out but they're getting low views?
That's a great question.
The key to it is knowing that it's not for everyone. Like, getting low views doesn't mean that your video's crap. It doesn't mean that what you're talking about is rubbish. You can see that through your analytics, especially on YouTube, where you look at viewer graphs and stuff like that. You can see when people are leaving, going, that's no good for me. Figure out how to fix that. But also know that you're talking to the right person. Know that your so my ideal customer is called James Smith, which is a very generic name, but it's who he is. He's that business owner who doesn't have much time, but knows that he wants to invest in video content, growing the business, getting that marketing stuff. Know that you're talking to that person and you're giving them the most valuable thing that's going to keep them coming back. Because if you're only getting 5 or 6 views, but those 5 or 6 views are the perfect 5 or 6 people who are going to come and spend that money with you. If you've got 100,000 views on the video and 100,000 people, that might sound great, but you can't cater for that many people that quickly. So the gradual growth, everything can grow gradually with that. So these 5 or 6 people turn into 5 or 6 customers. Your viewership's gone up to 50 people. Then your team can then grow with that. When you've got 100 of people, you can actually start reasonably going, oh, can I get a sponsor for this? I mean, you had a sponsor for this before you even started the actual podcast.
Which is very rare, by the way, guys. I'm not sure. Just, don't expect,
but it's all possible. If you know, but they know that who you're talking to is perfect for them.
Yeah. I think it's all about, I don't know if you'd agree, like, you kind of need to have that strong brand before you go for the podcast, because you kind of got something established. Well, that isn't our experience.
Unless your business is the podcast.
If you're going for that sponsorship route, I mean, you can do a podcast just for fun. There's entertainment ones out there which are really successful.
Yeah.
I mean, one of
the business aspect is quite difficult.
Yeah, one of my favourite ones to listen to is called the Infinite Escape Room, and it is just they design their own escape rooms every episode, and they have to. And it's 5 or 6 of them who do this episode. 3 or 4 of them go on an episode at a time, and they've done an escape room, and they just talk their way through it.
So they've got a sponsor.
Yeah.
So this is it. So it does turn into a business eventually.
If you mates having fun. Yeah. They enjoy role play games, games and things like that, where they do that sort of thing. They were like, oh, let's do a podcast. But it's one of my things here is that I want to do games nights. Set up a round table, do games nights here, and just record it, because the conversation in between is just as fun as playing the game.
Yeah.
One of my
always bring it back to strip poker.
One of my favourite podcasts is Staying Relevant. It's like Sam Thompson and Pete Wicks, and they started that up as like obviously ex-Towie, ex-Made in Chelsea, and it was just a funny podcast they were doing about all the things they were doing to try and keep famous.
It's just funny stuff, isn't it? And if it's entertaining, it has to have its purpose, right? And there's value. The entertainment, obviously, for us is trying to be educational, trying to be. But what I would love to understand for our listeners, especially because they obviously are we're very guilty as business owners to compare all the time, and when they're comparing, if they want to thinking about starting a podcast, they might feel very overwhelmed with the amount that actually goes into it. So like obviously you've got like a theme tune thing going on, you've got like an intro, you need graphics, maybe an outro. Like what would you say and what would you advise them to focus on as part of the foundation of creating a podcast?
Good conversation, good content. What you're saying is the most important thing. If you want to keep people hooked in, talk about what you're going to talk about, whether it's a solo episode or multiple people or an interview. The content is the key thing. Everything else is fluff. Everything else. So if you're releasing an episode on YouTube, don't even bother with a theme tune, because everyone will turn off by the time that theme tune's done, because people don't want to see it. How many times do you watch a TV program? I mean,
skip the theme tune.
Yeah, you skip the
Stranger Things. That Stranger Things theme tune always gets my goosebumps going.
I was going to say, that's the one. Me and Rachel started watching Stranger Things. She straight away skipped the theme tune. I was like, it's the first episode of the season. You have to watch it on the first episode of the season.
Yeah.
But we saved it till the last one, which was. But people don't want to have those sorts of things on YouTube. YouTube audience is different to podcast audience. Podcast on an actual podcast itself, you can go with a bit of a theme tune, keep it to 5 seconds, don't go mad, but maybe have a good hook about the episode.
I would love to understand, actually, this bit of field research, market research. Do you skip adverts on the podcast? Because you can do that, right? Do you skip the advert, or do you just listen to it?
I used to listen to them all the time and be like, to be fair, it's my payment. It's a free thing for them to use. So I will sit here and listen to the adverts to make sure you get your money. But now I'm just like, nope, I ain't got time for this. Yeah. I found out about YouTube Premium. I'm like, I'm paying for that. Yeah. Just skip adverts.
Well, I do, because I listen to all my podcasts on Spotify in the car. That's where I listen, so I don't watch.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm normally, because I'm concentrating on driving, I don't skip the adverts.
So with my car, with the Apple CarPlay, you've got to do is just tap like 15-second skip twice, and it basically skips most of the
see, I have Apple CarPlay, but it's not touchscreen. So I still have to fiddle with the little console.
No,
so
you don't want to be doing that.
And my driving's good. It's not that good.
What I found, and this is probably a bit more of an advance, especially for our listeners, is the podcast hosts, if they're talking about the sponsor within the advert, it's a lot more engaging. It's so obvious when the voice changes, there's like some music going on in the background. It's just very sort of like, this is not the podcast I will listen to. So like my advice personally is I find that a lot more engaging when, like, for instance, like Josh Whittaker and Will Beckett, when they actually talk about like Apple Music,
an integrated ad rather than it being an advert. It's an integrated ad.
It's 100% much better.
There's some that I'll listen to, and you can hear the tone change. There's a massive tone change between natural conversation and read content, read advert, and I'm like,
we've got a cheesy advert for ITMS and ours, and the listeners have probably already heard it because we're over halfway through this. I'd love to know your feedback, guys, if you're
but we mean every word. There's actually one, just quickly, there's with an American influencer. And she does these, but they're always such random things for like gambling sites or whatever. And you can her voice is completely different. And she's stopped doing that podcast now. And she said in a different podcast, she went, "Yeah, I have my advert voice. And if you hear the advert voice, my like hardcore fans know, don't buy this because I don't believe in it. I'm just doing this for the money." And she specifically had that voice because her hardcore fans knew, don't buy it if I'm talking this way.
That's hilarious. That's amazing.
Yeah, that is a big trap that people fall into when it comes to sponsors or advertising, is that they go, I'm just going to take the money. But it's sometimes better if you just wait for a relationship and build the ads around the relationship.
100%. Like our sponsor, we both use. Do you know what I mean? I think it would be ironic, really, if we didn't.
Yeah.
Right, we do.
Yeah, we've got one question from previous guest. Yeah. And then you'll need to give us a question. So their question was, what is the biggest failure that you've learnt from?
Quite convenient that we start talking about podcasts. It's my first ever podcast that I recorded. We recorded it. We didn't have any idea what we were doing. We thought, we've got some equipment, got cameras. I've got mics that I've done some weddings with. So we handheld them and we were talking like this, all like hands going away from our mouths, and it just sounded terrible. It looked rubbish. It was very basic. Didn't know what we were talking about. We just go, every episode would start, so what we're going to talk about? No idea. Okay, let's go from there. No one was interested. It failed after 6 episodes and it was a massive flop.
Crazy.
But since then, I decided to...
So that wasn't really a failure, that was a learning curve. But I know what you mean. I think all failures are massive learning curves.
The other one could be where I nearly fell into a pond at a wedding.
Okay.
Because I just kept walking back while taking photos.
Did the camera go in?
No, somebody grabbed me before I fell in.
Oh my God.
But, I thought you were going to say we did our first podcast, but we forgot to press record and it was 2 hours long.
Oh, no, I've done things like that. Yeah,
because you're not going to do yourself any favours.
No, not with podcasts.
Do you have a question for the next guest? You don't know who they are. It can be anyone.
It can be funny. It can be just something that you like asking people when you first meet them, or it could be something deep. It could be insightful. Whatever you want.
Literally, what's your favourite cheese?
What's your favourite cheese?
What's your favourite cheese?
Okay, you knock that one down. It's quite nice and simple.
Yeah.
Very simple, but it's my go-to panic question. I had to ask Daniel Priestley a question. I was like, I am going to ask him a question. I don't know what it is, but I've got my backup. What's your favourite cheese? But luckily I had my Back to the Future pin on me, and he was like, I went to see that with a live orchestra. I was like, that's so cool. I don't know what I'm going to say now, but you're awesome. Thank you.
And cheddar. Right. Thank you so much for your time today. How can people check you out? What's your website?
So yourvideoteam.co.uk, but find us on socials looking for YVT_UK on pretty much anything.
Perfect. And if you come along, you might see us here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening, guys, and we'll see you guys next week for another episode of The Rookie CEO. Bye.
Bye.